Welcome, dear Pisces, both the faithful companions who have journeyed with me for years and the curious newcomers who have just stumbled into my channel, Zodiac Talks Tarot. You have arrived at a week where the universe refuses to play lightly, a week when the message is not a fortune cookie phrase but something far more potent, and the card at the center of it all is the star. This card doesn't arrive dressed in glitter and empty promises. It shows up like a beacon breaking through the night, luminous and quietly haunting, reminding you to return to clarity, faith, and purpose. Pisces, you have never been the quiet wallpaper of the zodiac. You are the ocean at twilight, mesmerizing, unpredictable, capable of pulling people into depths so vast that they forget the shoreline exists. And yet, as any sailor knows, those waters can conceal storms beneath their serene surface. This week, you are being asked to embrace both your dreamer's gift and your navigator's discipline, the poet's wonder and the protector's caution, because both are required if you are to meet what lies ahead. After decades of observing astrology, psychology, and the unruly theater of human behavior, I can say with confidence that your imagination is both the treasure that crowns you and the snare that can undo you. You see beauty where others see banality, hear symphonies in silence, and construct entire worlds from the faintest glimmer of possibility. That is a blessing beyond measure, but it also carries its peril. For the cosmic climate now feels eerily like the hush before a storm, gentle, even sweet, but humming with an energy that warns of rain. Ignore it, and you risk walking into the tempest armed with nothing but one of those bargain umbrellas that turns inside out at the first gust of wind. And in true Piscean fashion, you might even laugh, drenched to the bone, muttering, "Well, at least the rain feels poetic." Your humor is your salvation, but it cannot be your only strategy. Because here is the truth, stripped of sugarcoating, drifting is your art, but left unchecked, it becomes your downfall. Pisces, you can drift into revelations, yes, but you can also drift into Netflix marathons, half-finished journals, or the endless speculation of whether dolphins dream at night. This week, the star appears not simply to bless you but to shake you awake, like an alarm clock echoing through your soul. It urges you to stop floating endlessly on currents of fantasy and instead anchor those visions into the soil of real life. Without that anchoring, your dreams remain mist, beautiful but untouchable, leaving you stranded on a distant shore wondering how you arrived there. So this is your call, Pisces, embrace your dreaming, but dream with intention. Honor your gift for imagination, but balance it with action. Laugh at your own quirks, but do not mistake amusement for progress. The star asks you to step into your dual nature, fully mystic and maker, seer and builder, so that when the storm passes, you are not merely the ocean that dazzles but also the sailor who knows where to steer. This is your week to rediscover that your light, though fragile, is also unshakably yours. Pisces, let's talk about something I've observed in you for decades of studying astrology, psychology, and the rhythms of human behavior, your exquisite ability to escape. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can slip out of reality quite like you. What starts as a casual Netflix binge becomes an alternate universe where you are both director and star. A harmless daydream during a meeting transforms into a full-blown romance where you're living a parallel life in Paris. Even a quick scroll through social media can morph into an Oscar-worthy fantasy where you're the protagonist of someone else's highlight reel. And I say this with affection, not accusation, because escapism is your masterpiece. It's your art form. But as any artist knows, the canvas can swallow you whole if you forget where the frame ends. Art without boundaries consumes the artist, and escapism without discipline consumes the dreamer. This week, the temptation is especially strong. The cosmic weather practically begs you to retreat into what could be rather than what is. And here's the problem with that: dreams without grounding are like seeds scattered on sand. They sprout magnificently in the mind but never take root in the soil of real life. You can write 1,000 love stories in your head, but if you never send that text, you're still alone at the end of the day. You can hear an entire symphony reverberating in your soul, but if your fingers never touch the piano keys, the music remains locked away. The Star card is not asking you to stop dreaming. It is asking you to stop letting those dreams evaporate into mist. Turn them into something tangible, something you can hold, share, and live. Now, let me pause here for a little humor, because we can't talk about Pisces without honoring your quirks. You are famous for two things: losing your keys and losing track of time. If the Zodiac had its own time zone, yours would be Pisces Standard Time, where showing up 30 minutes late is not an accident but a cultural ritual. And please, spare us the excuse of "I was meditating" when you're late this week. After all these years, I know better. You weren't meditating, you were staring at a candle, wondering whether fish ever get thirsty. These eccentricities are not flaws, they're signatures. They're what make you endearing, the reminder that life is not all schedules and alarms but also daydreams and wandering thoughts that make the world softer. But let's return to serious waters. Another theme demanding your attention this week is reputation. I know, Pisces, you often shrug at that word, as though it belongs to a shallow world of appearances you'd rather not inhabit. Yet reputation, whether you value it or not, shapes how the world receives you. In Buddhist philosophy, reputation is both empty and powerful. Empty, because it is not your true self. Powerful, because it determines whether doors open or remain shut. Imagine reputation as a bridge. You don't live on it, but you need it to cross. Neglect the bridge, and it may collapse just when you need it most. So, guard your name this week. If someone tries to steal credit for your work, speak up. If gossip circulates, don't let it define you. If you've been careless with promises, correct course quickly. Protect your reputation not because it defines you, but because it carries your dreams into the world. The Star card reminds you, hope is a beacon, but without integrity, it cannot guide you forward. You don't need perfection, Pisces, but you do need presence. Anchor your imagination, laugh at your quirks, protect your name, and step into the week with both your poetry and your power intact. Pisces, let's talk about one of your greatest gifts and one of your greatest challenges: compassion. I've spent decades studying the Zodiac, human behavior, and the messy tangle between empathy and psychology, and no sign embodies compassion quite like you. You are the first to sense when someone in the room feels invisible, the first to offer your shoulder when the weight of the world proves too much for another. But here's the hard truth: you have to be careful, because compassion without discernment quickly turns into a magnet for opportunists. The stars suggest that this week someone may try to cash in on your kindness, and it won't always look obvious. It could be that friend who suddenly becomes allergic to carrying their wallet whenever the dinner bill arrives. It might be a coworker who rebrands their own laziness as teamwork and somehow leaves you with the heavy lifting. Or it could show up in your intimate life as a partner who leans on your empathy without offering balance in return. These people wear velvet cloaks of flattery and need, but sometimes, hidden beneath, are blades sharp enough to cut away at your energy. I say this not to scare you but to remind you that compassion and depletion are not the same thing. Boundaries are essential. And no, boundaries are not cold walls meant to shut others out. Boundaries are doors you decide who walks in, when, and how long they stay. If you refuse to protect your own energy, you risk becoming both savior and casualty in the same story. You can't heal anyone if you're drowning alongside them. Even the Buddha himself taught that compassion without wisdom is incomplete. It becomes blind giving, which helps no one in the end. Now, let's pivot to the blessing, because the universe never warns without also offering a gift. This week that gift comes in the form of the Star card. The star is one of the most luminous symbols in the tarot, reminding us that storms pass but stars remain. Darkness is temporary, light is eternal. For Pisces, the star isn't just about wishful thinking, it's a compass. It says, yes, you may feel lost, but you are never without guidance. I often call the star the card of the chosen ones. And Pisces, that includes you. Not because you were born to leap into battle wearing spandex and Marvel-grade powers, but because you were entrusted with something far rarer, profound sensitivity. While others skim the surface of life like stones skipping across water, you dive deep. While others chase trophies, you chase truth and meaning. Your sensitivity isn't weakness, it's destiny. But here's the catch. Being among the chosen ones in the year of triumph 2025 doesn't mean drifting into daydreams and hoping the universe does the heavy lifting. It means proving that your empathy and imagination are tools to be used, not just traits to be admired. It means stepping forward when your instinct is to fade back, showing that you can transform vision into reality. The star shines for you, but it also demands action. Now let's turn to another piece of cosmic wisdom, group dynamics. You, Pisces, are often the glue in your circles. You feel the subtle tension before anyone else notices. You keep the peace, smooth over conflicts, and quietly make sure no one feels left out. It's admirable, but it carries a hidden cost. Sometimes peace comes at the expense of erasing yourself. This week, you may feel pressured to blend in, to bite your tongue for the sake of harmony, to shrink a little so others remain comfortable. But harmony built on self-erasure isn't harmony at all, it's avoidance dressed up in pretty clothes. The universe is asking you to pause and reflect. Are you being true to yourself, or are you dissolving into the crowd? Real belonging requires presence, not invisibility. If you find yourself disappearing to keep the waters calm, that's your cosmic nudge to reclaim your voice. Speak your truth, not aggressively, but firmly. Because silence isn't always golden, sometimes it's just the price you pay for betraying yourself. And Pisces, your voice, your compassion, and your vision are far too valuable to be silenced. So this week, remember, protect your kindness with discernment, embrace the star as your compass, and show up fully in every room you enter. Your light isn't meant to flicker quietly in the background. It's meant to guide not just others, but yourself through the vast and often chaotic ocean of life. And if anyone asks why you've started guarding your energy more carefully, just smile and say, even fish know when to swim upstream. After all, a little humor is always the best boundary. Pisces, let's bring all of this lofty cosmic talk down to earth, because even dreamers like you need a little structure if you want your visions to blossom into reality. I've spent years watching how your sign dances between the mystical and the mundane, and I can tell you that the secret isn't choosing one or the other, it's learning to balance both. So let me offer some practical counsel, not as rigid rules but as gentle anchors to help you hold steady. Start with journaling. Every day, take the chaos of your swirling thoughts, those tidal waves of feelings and ideas, and pin them down on paper. Think of it as scooping water from the ocean into a clear glass. You finally see what you're dealing with. That clarity matters, because Pisces, your mind is often like an endless sea of impressions, and without a compass, you can easily drift into confusion. Then, meditate, but not the kind where you end up daydreaming about whether dolphins dream at night, because I know you. I've seen you sit down to meditate and end up 3 chapters deep into an imaginary novel about sea creatures with secret societies. I'm talking about meditation with awareness, the kind that keeps bringing you back to your breath, to presence, to the ground beneath you. It doesn't have to be complicated, just 10 minutes of real attention can feel like a full reset for your soul. And speaking of ground, let's not forget the literal kind. Pisces spends so much time swimming in emotional waters and floating through the clouds of imagination that sometimes you forget you have feet. Walk barefoot on the earth. Yes, I mean literally. Grass, soil, sand, whatever you can find. It sounds simple, but it's medicine. Touching the earth reconnects you to your roots, reminding you that you are not only a dreamer of skies and seas but also a human being who must walk this world. Next, honor your word. Every promise you keep is like reinforcing the bridge between you and others. People cross that bridge every day to meet you, to trust you, to rely on you. If the bridge weakens because of broken promises, your reputation suffers, and even your grandest dreams lose their chance to be shared. So treat your word as sacred. It strengthens not only your name but also your path forward. Finally, practice discernment and compassion. Helping others is beautiful, but it should not drain you dry. A candle cannot light the room if it burns itself out. Compassion must be paired with wisdom, or else it becomes martyrdom. This week, Pisces, remind yourself that saying no is sometimes the most loving act you can offer, because it protects both you and the person you're helping from imbalance. Remember this truth: the ocean does not explain itself to the shore. It simply exists vast, undeniable, and whole. So too must you. You don't need to justify your depth or your sensitivity, you need only to live it with strength and grace. Now, for the final reflection. This week is not a punishment, Pisces, it's refinement. The universe isn't mocking you with challenges, it's shaping you. Those drifting daydreams, the fragile threads of reputation, the opportunists who test your boundaries, these are not enemies but teachers. They are sharpening you for the next chapter of your life. The cosmos is essentially saying, you're ready for more, but first, prove you can hold steady. You are the star this week, fragile yet radiant, vulnerable yet healing, distant yet guiding. So shine anyway. And while you're shining, don't forget to live. Protect your compassion, guard your dreams, but also laugh, love, and enjoy the sweetness of being alive. Sensitivity is not weakness, it is your extraordinary gift, the very thing that makes your light so rare. And as you carry this light into your week, I invite you to share it here too. If this message resonated, if it gave you even a spark of clarity or encouragement, then take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe to Zodiac Talks Tarot. This isn't just about growing a channel, it's about building a circle of dreamers, seekers, and truth-tellers who are stumbling, learning, and laughing their way under the same vast sky. Until next time, Pisces, keep dreaming, but keep your feet on the earth. The world is waiting to see you shine.